What was it like being an investment banker at Goldman Sachs on one of my worst days? Hi, I'm Peter, and if we haven't met, I'm a former Goldman Sachs investment banker in San Francisco. Today, I'm going to talk about my scariest day as an investment banking analyst at Goldman. Legit, I was scared. And at the end, I'll share my big takeaway. 1, overview. My second year at Goldman. It was a Friday, 11:05 a.m. I woke up to the scariest phone call that you could ever get as an investment banking analyst. This is the call that every analyst dreads and never wants to get because it almost feels like you're going to get fired. For me, it basically meant no more multi-billion-dollar deal, no more $100,000 bonus, no more $300,000 PE job. It was basically felt like the end of the world. This is my associate being on the other end of the line saying, "Where are you?" Your associate, if they need you, they'd email you and you would respond right away. But if you miss it, they're going to email you again a few more times. And after that, if it's an emergency, they're going to call you. And if they call you, that's basically red alert. So my associate was like, "Hey man, the Disney meeting is in an hour at noon. I found one of the logos needs to be updated. I had to print a bunch of pages. We have to flip all the books again. I'm really sorry. I just woke up. I thought you needed me back in by noon. Okay, I'll be right there." Hang up, scream, a bunch of things that cannot be repeated on YouTube. My cortisol shot through the roof. I had double, triple, quadruple, quintuple checked everything multiple times, and there was still a little mistake that found its way into this pitch book. And my associate hadn't even caught it till now. I wasn't sure if we could do it in time. It's moments like these where you feel like curling up into a ball and staying in bed. I had just gotten 3 hours of sleep, been slammed that whole week, and now there was this little mistake, and I had to go back into the office, fix it, and do it before the meeting. It just felt like too much. 2, making the pitch book. So the previous night, Thursday at midnight, my associate and I were getting the final comments from our VP in LA. He calls us at midnight and basically says all these comments, all these little changes. And at the end, he hangs up and says, "Great work again, guys. Don't burn the midnight oil, okay?" After that, my associate was checking all the model outputs, the presentation outputs till around 4 a.m. After that, it was my job to send the books to the printers where they would print all the books and bind them. And I would flip through every page to make sure everything looked good and was ready for the client. At around 7:30 a.m., I drop a pad folio about this thick onto my associate's Aeron chair by his cubicle. I call a cab, I get home. Are these guys ever gonna do a deal, or are we gonna just keep pitching ideas forever? At every bulge bracket, there's always gonna be these huge clients that your bank just has a CS team for, client service. So you're always just pitching them ideas, strategic alternatives, just different ideas until after many months, many years, the CEO, the CFO finally decides to do a deal and they pick your bank. At 7:30 a.m., I was deciding between should I stay in the conference room and sleep in my special little space where there's this nice soft blue carpet, or do I go home? I remember senior bankers could come in at 8 a.m. So they don't want to see an analyst laying face down on the carpet. So I decided to go home, and my associate had said I could just sleep in a little bit while he held down the fort before the meeting, since everything was pretty much done, or so I thought. Now it was Friday around 11:25 a.m. And I don't think I've ever put on Brooks Brothers shirts, slacks, my Ferragamos that quickly. Once I got to the Goldman building, it's called 555 California in San Francisco. Some people like to call it Triple Nickel. I push through the turnstiles, go all the way up to our floor, and I find my associate at his cube frantically flipping the books. I join him and start frantically flipping with him. And then at around 11:35 a.m., the books, we've checked them, double, triple, quadruple checked. They're perfect. That means they're client ready for the C-suite corp dev team to see. I give the pitch books to my associate because usually analysts don't get to go to meetings unless they're lucky. So my associate, he took the pitch books, walked out and started going to the meeting. After that, I sat back and reflected. On one hand, it was really scary that a little mistake had found its way so close to the final product. But on the other hand, our system had worked and we had checked it, we caught the mistake and we fixed it, and everything was perfect and client ready. These are the moments in banking where you feel like you're James Bond, where you finish this crazy mission and you're shaken, but not stirred. 4, next steps. Fast forward a year later, I had finished up my time at Goldman. I got the live deal experiences, the mega fund PE offer from Carlyle, and ultimately I decided to become a venture capital associate at a $2 billion fund on Sand Hill. Sand Hill is this iconic road in the Silicon Valley, right next to Stanford, where some of the best VC investors in the world have their funds. These funds have invested in companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, Uber, the open AIs of the world. And now I was at one of these funds, and now I was on the buy side. We had $2 billion in capital that we managed, where entrepreneurs pitched us and we decided which entrepreneurs we wanted to work with and invest in. As a former presentation jockey, it felt so good to be on the side where people were making presentations for me now. I was sitting in the conference room and just catching up with my old Goldman associate. He told me he was happy to be my B-school reference if I did apply to schools like HBS. And he told me that the deal that we had originally pitched had closed. Disney had acquired Marvel for $4 billion. If you're going for something that you really want, if it's your dream banking job, whatever it is, it's totally normal to feel really scared sometimes. My hope is that when you do feel this fear, you feel it, you acknowledge it, you set it aside, and you push through towards going for what you really want. If you want to see my actual Goldman Sachs resume and cover letter template, check out this playlist here. And if you want to learn my banking recruiting playbook that got me into Goldman, check out my banking recruiting workshop. It's free with the link in the description below. Love yourself, love others, and have an awesome day.